Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Fahd Dawood. I talk about real estate, your and my life, and our path to financial bliss. Look, in the past 1 or 2 months or so, I've had a lot of sellers approach me as well, and I thought, let me make a quick, maybe it's not going to be a super quick video, but I want to talk about how sellers in this current market would be able to successfully sell their property, right? Hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon if you haven't. If you've got questions, put them in the comment section, or you can reach out to me by WhatsApp. If you want to also work specifically one-on-one, WhatsApp's the best way. I reply to you through WhatsApp. I'm going to talk about 9 to 10 points over here, okay? Right from making the decision to sell, how the property, the condition of the property that should be, what the property condition should be in the state of the condition, the pricing, how you could work with your agent successfully, what you should be paying your agent if you're paying him at all, and last but not the least, how to deal with any regrets around selling, okay? So about 9 to 10 points. The number one point is this: make the decision to sell. Look, when I sit across with the seller, I've got a lengthy questionnaire which is about 3 pages, and I ask all the questions that I need to be able to successfully sell the property, but I ask all the questions also to bring the owner, the seller, to a point of clarity where they know exactly why they're selling and why it's a must that they should sell. Or perhaps while you go through the decision-making process of whether you should sell or not, you might end up deciding, I shouldn't sell. So before you actually start selling, the actual critical thing is to make a decision that you need to sell, because if it's not sorted out in your mind that this is a property that I'm going to sell, you're going to face problems as you get into the negotiations, as you get into the staging of the property, so on and so forth. It's much easier for you to decide, look, I'm going to get into my car and I'm going to head to, let's say, to San Diego from LA, for instance. I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive down to San Diego. It's easier to do that rather than to get into your car and then say, hey, I'm moving in the direction of San Diego, but maybe I don't want to go to San Diego. Maybe I want to go to somewhere else, right? Or I want to go back. It's easier to move in one direction. As somebody very famous said, look, think 1,000 times before you make a decision, but after you make a decision, stand by it like one man. So before you start selling, come to the point of decision that you are going to actually sell. That's very, very critical, because after you do that, then you move into the next stage, which in my personal opinion, you should always be doing, which is interviewing at least 5 agents. Now here's the tricky thing. Statistics show from the US market, and it's pretty much the same everywhere else, that people generally interview only 1 or 2 real estate agent before they either list their home or they start with the buying process, okay? I personally say 5, because I know if you're lazy and won't get to 5, at least you get to 3. Your job is to reach out to those agents who are specialists in your area. Now, how do you find those agents? You can reach out to me, you can reach out to any other real estate friend of yours who works in the business, or just go through the real estate listings online, okay? Over here in Dubai, you've got Property Finder, Bayut, Debizzle, so on and so forth. Just look for villas that are advertised by agents in your community. And your role is going to be to call those agents, and then before you invite them for an interview so that you can list your property, you're supposed to ask them a few critical questions on the phone itself. Number 1, are you a community specialist? Right? If they're a community specialist, they're never going to be very far from your property. And if they claim that they're a community specialist, the moment you tell them which property that you're looking to sell, they should know exactly the property, the view, the shape of it, is it tenanted? Because that's what a community specialist generally knows. And last but not the least, ask them if they've actually sold any properties recently. Then when they come back to you, when they come to interview with you, oh, by the way, any agent who's not willing to meet you in person to actually list your property and win your listing, he's not worth a salt for you to work with him. Because if he's not willing to work and meet you in the beginning, hey, things are only going to get ugly. This is an agent who wants to do everything by the phone, on the phone. I understand it's Corona going on. What I would advise you to at least have a Zoom meeting with him, not just a phone meeting, okay? Secondly, when you actually meet them, your role in the interview process. Now, I'm going to be releasing a script shortly about the questions that you should be asking when you're interviewing the agent for you to be able to successfully appoint him. But here's the thing. Let's say you interview 5 or 3. You're going to appoint one agent, ideally exclusively, okay? Because there's no harm in not appointing him exclusively. If he doesn't come up to your standard, you can always fire the agent, right? The idea is that when you apply when you get the agent into your living room and you're doing a tour of your property and you're about to maybe decide whether you should give the listing to him or not, the 2 qualities that I recommend that you should be looking in an agent are, is he competent and is he honest, okay? Both of them are super important. One without the other is going to cause you pain. So if he's super competent but he's not honest, there's going to be problems. But if he's super honest but not competent and not experienced enough, again, you're going to have problems, because we've been in a buyer's market for the last 4 to 5 years, okay? Given the current circumstances with this Corona, this COVID situation, this sea outbreak, buyers smell blood, okay? They're like sharks circling around properties. So a property that you essentially in your mind want to sell at, let's assume 4.8 million dirhams, and is in the market going to sell at 3.7 million dirhams, that's a million dirham difference. Buyers are going to want to buy for 2.5. And they call us agents all the time, you know, for properties that are selling at 5 million. Hey, I've got 2.5, can you get it for me? Properties that are selling for 2 million. Hey, I want to buy that for 1.2 million. Can you get it for me? And we respect them. Look, they're genuine buyers with actual cash. They want to get the best deal. Fine. It's our job to take them from where they are to understanding the value of a property. So, given that there are sharks circling around, if they smell blood, they're going to play your agent against you and try to bring the price down. If you've got one agent who's competent and honest, solely appointed to look out for your best interest, what's going to end up happening is that he's going to be able to know exactly which offer is coming from where, and he's going to be able to control them before they get to you, and he's going to be able to qualify them and ideally get written offers with checks so that you can make a solid decision on any offer based on how serious and real it is, okay? Number 3, and I can't emphasize this enough, and we've seen this in the last 3 to 4 years really come out into the Dubai market. Your property has to be, okay, has is a strong word. It should ideally, and this is like, I'm going to give it 95%, be vacant. Here's the thing, guys. If you're looking to sell a property and it's rented with a tenant, it's very difficult to do viewings on them, because tenants deserve their privacy, and I'm all for it. But you know, you're in a bind, you need to sell your property. The tenants gotta actually be a little malleable, a little bit compliant in allowing viewings. But even then, how many viewings can you do? We're in the Middle East, culture sensitive. So sometimes a tenant's working, either both of them are working, husband and wife are working, or maybe only the husband's working and the wife's alone, and he doesn't want you, Mr. Agent, with your buyer to show up when his wife alone with the kid, you know, taking care of the newly born baby. So he wants you to come in the evening after 7 p.m. after he returns from work, okay? Now, of course, we've got Corona situation going on. It's even more difficult. People don't want intruders coming into the house. You're going to have to do viewings with a camera. That's fine. But let's say after the outbreak situation improves or before this, listen, a vacant property sells much easier, okay? Because viewings can happen, right? So also because the current market is a lot of end users are looking to buy. So if you've got an amazing 3 or 4 bedroom townhouse in Arabian Ranches or a villa, look, it's end users who are looking to buy because and they need it vacant. And in Dubai, the law is that, you know, your tenant has the rights of 12 months notice before he needs to vacate the property. Now, if your property is not vacant and you want an investor to purchase it, this is going to be my point 4, then guess what? You're going to have to lower the price such that the rental income gives the investor at least 8% net return, or 9% or 10%, right? Investors are putting money, they've got their rights to demand what they want. And if they're not getting that, right? If they're not getting that much return, put yourself in an investor's shoes. Why would you put money in a property? So either you're gonna have to bring your price really down and price it really competitively for the investor to buy, or you're gonna have to offer them some other perks, right, to make it easier. Maybe take care of the DLD fee, take care of the agency fee, etc., so on and so forth. So remember one thing, it's very critical that it should be vacant. If it's not, you're gonna have to give them an investor price, right? Number 5. Now this point could have been at the first, but I've put it as number 5, yet it's not less important. It's super, 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 super critical, okay? It's very critical to price your property correctly, okay? Now, I learned this the hard way. 2013, we were doing open houses on a property in downtown. We worked so hard for 3 months, but our property was just priced wrong. And we ended up costing ourselves a lot of time. And then obviously an incompetent agent who doesn't price the property wrong is going to end up costing the seller a lot of money as well. Because here's how it works. If the seller is willing to ask for 1.8 and is willing to give the listing at 1.8, but the actual market price for this property is going to sell at 1.5, 1.55, you're wasting your time pricing at 1.8. But because the market's going downwards like this, essentially when you price at 1.8, but the pricing is here and market's going downwards, so the price comes down this, you end up from 1.8 after a month's time bringing it down to 1.7, the 1.6. And then the landlord or the seller starts mentally accepting that, hey, maybe my property is going to sell at 1.6. But by the time it comes to 1.6, property price goes down to 1.45. Now you're always chasing the market, and this one particular seller, he ended up selling his property starting from 1.8 to at 1.3 a year later, because in the middle when we got him an offer of 1.55, he was just not mentally ready because he was stagnant at 1.7 or 1.6, just was not mentally ready to close the deal. So you, Mr. Agent, if you're listening to this, or Mr. Seller, if you're listening to this, are going to be doing yourself a disservice by listing your property super high, actually pricing it so that it's market price and sells within a month is super, super important. And a key litmus test for this. Look, I'll tell you the litmus test, but here's the thing. Inviting a broker or several brokers and telling them that you want 27 million dirhams on your villa that's ideally going to sell for only 18 million is great. And there'll be stupid brokers who will willingly take those listings at 27 million, and you feel great, they feel great, but you know what? Putting a listing out there in the market at an inflated price doesn't bring money into your pocket, right? So then there's no value for you. The actual litmus test of correctly pricing a listing is twofold, okay? Number 1, several viewings should happen within the first month. Number 2, you should get offers on your property. Now, if viewings have happened, your price at the initial point is correct, so that's good, congratulations. But you've not received offers, that means your price is out of sync where your property should be. So if people are looking for a 3-bedroom in Arabian Ranches, and your 3-bedroom property, yours is a 3-bedroom, and you price it as per the market, and you start getting viewings, but you're not getting offers, then guess what? Your 3-bedroom is not that much in demand, either because it is in a specific part of the community, either it's in a dilapidated situation, either the views are not proper, either it's facing a main road so there's traffic. There's other things that you're going to have to take into account, and that's going to be with point 7. When you sit with your agent, if you're getting a lot of viewings, so price was correct, but no offers, guess what? After the first month, you will have to reevaluate price and adjust it. You're going to be doing that anyways in 4 months or 6 months or 1 year from now if your property is still on the market. Trust me, one of my mentors who I respect immensely, but him being from the stock market and made millions in his lifetime in the UK market and the Japanese market, you know, I love to help him, but his property in Dubai, when I advised him how to price it about 1.5 years ago, Nobody listened. And now during this corona situation, they're slashing price down fast because they need to sell it super fast. Like, might as well just price it at the price it's going to sell earlier so that you can get rid of it, get the money in, invest it somewhere else, move on with your life, right? Have a happy ending. Number 6, again, very critical. Dress it up. This is something that's been done a lot in the US and the Toronto and the Canadian market, but I would advise that it's time that the Dubai market catches up. And it's called staging. Essentially speaking, if you've got a 3-bedroom villa or a 4-bedroom villa, it's vacant, you don't leave it dilapidated. Ideally, you stage it with furniture, with the air conditioner running, with the walls painted nicely, maybe a few light changes here and there, whereby when the potential buyer walks into the property, they feel that they can live in this property. They should fall in love with the property. It's going to be an emotional decision at the end of the day, but if they can't even fall in love with this property, hey, buying it is far. They're just going to want to leave. I'll give you an actual example that happened recently, and this was 2 months ago. So we were getting into the hot months, and it's a premium, I'm not going to name the community, but it's a premium community, a villa, semi-detached villa, townhouse, premium community, but by one of the government developers here. And I took one of my buyers, bona fide buyers, had cash and money to spend, and the agent who's representing the seller. Now, here's the critical thing. It's a funny thing. In this community, it's very difficult to get listings because houses very rarely come onto the market. Now, this agent had it. He had kind of some exclusivity. He had the keys, but guess what? We walk into the house. It's dark. Yes, it's 4 p.m., so the sun's kind of setting down. There's no electricity. It's dark. It's dirty. It's never been painted. Again, after the old tenant left. Now, here's the thing. What this agent could have done is this agent could have refused the viewing and said, look, we're getting it painted, because that's what he said. Oh, tenants just moved out. But I bet you that villa is still in the same stage because the agent's too lazy to make changes on the villa, get it painted, have the air conditioning running, have some extra lights in there. And the sellers sometimes, not all the time, too cheap to spend more money. They let the grass grow, they let the walls be dirty. They're like, we're selling it anyways. Look, the Dubai market used to operate like that, right? We would have tenants come in and we say, look, are you interested in this piece of dump? We need your answer now. If not, then the next person's probably going to put a deposit and the villa, the property is going to go, you can't rent it. Same thing with selling. We used to and have sold properties on the phone, right? Sight unseen, right? They've not even seen the property and they say, yes, go for it. No longer, the Dubai market's not like that. So the sellers, you guys have to wake up and ask your agents, what do we need to do in this property to sell it and make it look nicer, price it right, stage it right? If you don't do that, you're gonna suffer, okay? Point number 7. Look, it's super critical that you meet your agent every 2 weeks. Whether it's a phone call meeting or an in-person meeting, if we're out of the corona situation, it's very important for you to assess how many people came in, where are the advertisements for your property, what's happening in terms of buyer interest. Maybe you need to move the price down. Maybe the pricing is really bad right now. It's very difficult for you to move this property. Whatever it is, you must meet your agent twice and get a bi-weekly report from the agent. Number 8, it's very important that you pay the agent who's going to be working for you. Remember I said hire a competent and an honest agent? Look, any competent agent who's an area specialist will not work on your property for less than 2% or 3% of fee that he's going to receive from you in return of selling the property, okay? So you should be offering 2 or 3% to make them work hard for you. Also, generally speaking, the way the deal is structured, the buyer pays 2% in the Dubai market, and if the seller is also paying 2%, then your agent's going to be looking out for you, because you're paying him 2%, so he doesn't care about the buyer's 2%. Ideally speaking, the other agent who's representing the buyer can keep the 2% from the buyer, and you need that because then your agent's going to spread the property news into the market that this property is available. We're open to work with other agents. Now, I know what you sellers might be thinking. Oh, why should I be paying my agent 2%? When the buyer is going to pay 2%, him and the other agent can just split the 1%. Let me tell you the reality of the market. Do you know why offline's done so well over the last 2 to 3 years? It's because the developers held lavish buffets, banquets, private chartered airplane trips to nearby cities, million dirhams, minis, cars, Range Rovers, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, given as gifts above the 2% or the 3%, and in some cases 6, 7, 10% that they've paid the agents to bring investors to their door to help them buy property from them. This is how the business operates. Everybody at the end of the day is watching out for their bottom line, right? You, Mr. Seller, are watching out for your bottom line. Shouldn't the agent be doing the same, that he's got a family to support as well? So he's going to, I'm not saying that he should not work on your listing, but it's free enterprise. He's going to go and put his effort where he's going to get paid more. So if you're not taking care of that, he's not going to work on your property as hard, and your property is not going to get sold. Now, incentivizing them is going to get it sold rather than waiting longer and bringing the price down. Okay. Last but not the least, this is something that I was taught by one of my relatives, and she said to me, this is like 6-7 years ago. She said to me, "Oh no, actually it wasn't her. It was somebody at the dinner table." But then she reiterated that this is essentially something. It's 3 words: regret by selling. Okay. The story goes, this person was sitting at the dinner table. His father used to own a business, and his father passed it on to him, and he passed it on to him. And he taught his son that, "Oh son, regret by selling." What does this mean? Remember the first point I said was make a solid decision that you're going to sell. This second point brings everything together because it's very critical and very important. What I mean by when I say regret by selling is you must, when an offer comes to you, assess it on its merit, and in some cases sell the property. Okay, now there is a slight chance that you might get a better offer after a week, maybe better than 50,000 dirhams. Now you're going to at that stage obviously regret, "Oh, why did I sell?" However, you are in a better situation having sold the property, because 9 times, I wouldn't even say 9, I said 9.9 times after 10. Here's what I've seen, not just in the Dubai market, but internationally. People are ready to sell and they've got a certain price in their mind. An offer comes to them, they refuse it, and then after that, offers just keep going down and down and down and down and down, all the way down, right? And that regret is worse because you're going to get less money. So it's better to regret by selling. So just to encapsulate all the points, number 1, make a solid decision that you're going to sell. Okay, it's very important. Make a decision, but think 1,000 times after you've made the decision. Stand by it like one man or woman. Choose a competent and honest agent. Make sure your property is vacant. Make it especially acceptable to investors and price it nice if it's not vacant. Make sure that you price it very, very well. Dress it up and stage it well. Meet your agent regularly, at least twice in a month. Number 8 is very important that you incentivize and pay some money to your agent. By some, I mean 2 to 3% off the sale price. And again, I don't mean that you price it such that, "Hey, I want this price. Anything that you get above this, you can keep." Doesn't work in this market. Agents aren't incentivized to work like that anymore. Last but not the least, regret by selling. I hope this was useful, especially for all the sellers who are now out in the market looking to sell. I still get sellers approaching me and say, "Hey, I've got this property. Would you like to list it?" Listing it doesn't sell it. Listing it by keeping in view all the things that I've mentioned. There's tons of other stuff, advertising it right, marketing right, doing social media. I haven't touched that aspect, but having the basic fundamentals correct, I'm a fundamentals person, is very important. Hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon. If you want to work one-on-one with me, WhatsApp me. I'll respond to you and I'll let you know how I do that. If you've got a general question, you're welcome to hit me up. I'll be more than happy to respond on YouTube so that everybody else can also benefit. Catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.